Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 7 of the PokeMMO podcast. Today we've got a great friend of mine and teammate, Hipsterjes, or, the chef, as most know him. But him and I cooked up a great episode for you. I'm not going to waste any time. Again, if you guys want to see the catch events, I did do a cool update to how I formatted those thanks to some suggestions. So head to the end of the video using the timestamps and you'll be able to see all the catch events and featured media. And of course, if you are enjoying the project, please make sure to subscribe here on YouTube or follow the project on Spotify, or if you really want to go above and beyond, do both. But without wasting any more time, let's get right into the 7th episode of the PokeMMO podcast. Hipsterjes, I appreciate you joining and being willing to do the podcast. For those of you who don't know Hipsterjes, I guess I'll let him tell you, but he's an awesome guy. He is one of my good friends that I made through this game, and I thought you guys would really enjoy his insight. So do you want to introduce yourself and what you mainly do in the game and stuff like that?
Yeah. So I'm Hipsterjes. A lot of people know me as Chefsterjes. If you know me by that name, shout out to you. You know who you are. I'm on Team Pori. And I got to say, the team is awesome. If you're not on a team right now and you're listening to this, go find a team, go find a community of people. You will not regret it. So shout out to you guys on Team Pori. So I've been playing PokeMMO for about 4 years now. I started just about at the height of the pandemic in 2020. And that was pretty eye-opening to see that PokeMMO existed, because I didn't even know this game was a thing. And I'm sure many people can relate to that. I have always thought that Pokemon should be an MMO. I was a huge World of Warcraft gamer. I've been an MMO guy my whole life. And for years, I always thought that Pokemon should be an MMO. And then every few years, I would kind of look up whether or not that was a thing. I didn't really find exactly what I was looking for. And then one day I stumbled across a video. It was like top 10 Pokemon MMOs. And PokeMMO was on the list. It was just somewhere random, scattered throughout the list, and it looked exactly like what I was looking for. It's a game that is basically true to the nature of Pokemon. Since you are playing ROMs, it literally looks like Pokemon in every way that you've played as a kid, and it has features like World of Warcraft does. It's got the auction house. We got the GTL. It's got so many great features. It's got teams, which is basically guilds. Everything that I was looking for in Pokemon now exists in a game, and I couldn't believe it wasn't a thing before. So I've been playing PokeMMO ever since, and it's been great. So I've always been an MMO guy, and PokeMMO has now sucked my soul, no doubt. But so and I know that you said you've never really been into MMOs in your past, that this is kind of your opening to MMOs, right?
Yeah, I've tried. So in the past, I've tried, what is it? I tried World of Warcraft for like 2 days, but it was with people, and I feel like, at least for like what I was interested in the past, like it didn't really match, because I was more into like competitive shooters. Like I was really into Valorant,
Sure.
and I was really into other things like that. And so for me, it was a lot more slower pace. Like it was a lot more grindy, and it just didn't really click with me. But
Right.
yeah, Pokemon's like my little. That's like my little tick, bro. It just anything
Yeah.
Pokemon related, I just get super into, and so it was like the perfect storm to get me into MMOs. And now it's like you said, it's cool to see all, the game we know and love honestly formatted in the way that it should have been whenever it dropped. But
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
awesome, dude.
And that kind of makes me wonder, if PokeMMO was released in 2020, I
Mhm.
think that the game would have maybe even caught a lot more traction, because when I'm looking at like the 2020 eras, that's kind of when everyone reached back into their childhood. They looked at things that they were nostalgic about. A big one was Pokemon cards. That was the
Yeah.
best time for the Pokemon card market. And anything that was nostalgic at the time was something that was gaining a lot of attention.
Yeah.
And any new game that comes out always gets a lot of attention. So I
Mhm.
always kind of wonder, if PokeMMO came out in 2020, I feel like it would have maybe caught a train where, who knows, maybe someone like XQC tries it, and he's bought hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of Pokemon cards, and
Yeah.
he might just catch wind of it for a moment, try out the game, and then now you've got 30,000 people logging on in one
Yeah.
day that have never even seen the game before. So I always kind of think about that. I do love PokeMMO. I love that it's been out since 2012. It's like 12 years
Yeah,
old
I think
already, which
so,
is
yeah.
insane. And I always kind of wonder if it was released later, what the impact would be. Um, but I can
Yeah.
say, when I did start playing, something I noticed about this game was that there was very little content creation coverage, at least in the 2020 time frame. And I did listen to your podcast from Petrowski, and I don't really remember what year he said he finally came back when he got that shuckle. I don't remember exactly what the time frame was, but
Uh-huh.
he was basically the only content creator I could find on YouTube when I first started playing PokeMMO.
Yeah.
And there was like a few odd and end videos that I saw, but it was mostly by channels that uploaded like one video and called it
Mhm.
a day. And it was a very specific thing. But then now in 2024, we see a slew of people uploading. I mean, we have, for PvP, we've got AFC Adinho, who I just spoke with today. We just played a league clash tournament. That was pretty
That's
funny.
so sick, dude.
Yeah, it's Smooge and Spidget. Those guys are hilarious. As Petrowski said, Dumb and Dumber. I think that's so funny. Dom's PokeMMO, he uploads some great content, and there's just so many content creators out there. You've already had a few on your channel, Team Rocket. I mean, like, these people, they really do a great job at putting passion into their videos, and
Yeah.
I feel like it's about damn time PokeMMO has gotten that love, and you are no exclusion to that too. And for the people who don't know how I met Cabbage, you can probably find it on his channel right now. I left a comment on a YouTube video one day, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm looking for a team." And he was like, "Hey, I'm on Team Zombie right now. Come join us on Team Zombie." And he was kind of
Yes,
like my
sir.
first friend in the team. And ever since, I met a lot of great people, too many to name, and a lot of them have been messaging me still. And even when I took breaks from PokeMMO, shout out to John. John was even checking up on me, making sure I was all good.
Dude,
Uh,
John's the best,
John is the best.
honestly.
He really is. So shout out to you, John. But yeah, so I have just really seen a great community with this game, and like I said, once again, if you're not on a team, it really changes the entire game for you. If you thought Pokemon was just catching shinies and PvPing, you are sadly mistaken in the fact that teams have so much more content for you to do. I'm talking team shiny hunts, catch events, all kinds of stuff where you could show off and gamble and do all kinds of fun stuff. And that's what Pokemon's all about at the end of the day. Um,
Oh, yeah.
you,
No,
you
it's
know,
it's so cool, dude. It's like, and just going off of that, like, I feel like my Pokemon experience, or at least with PokeMMO, like, it really began whenever I joined a team and whenever I saw, like, the kind of untapped potential that was just being wasted by me playing alone. Like, it's just so
right.
crazy, dude. Like, there's so many fun people out there that you meet the minute you join a team. Everybody's supportive. They motivate you to go shiny hunt or do like whatever you're grinding for in the game. And then you can also, like, that pours over into, like, other games that you're a fan of. For example, me and Jade, right? Like,
Hmm.
one of like the leaders of our team, him and I will play Valorant sometimes, or like you get other guys who, like, we're talking about playing Phasmophobia. It's just so
Yeah.
cool too. It's like, not only is this a good place for us to meet people and come together and like bond over this like childhood fascination that we all had, but it's also like a really cool place for us to come in here and like share our passions and like find like-minded people. Like, it's super cool.
Right. Right. And if you think about it, okay, kind of going back to the MMO thing and how I've always liked MMOs, Pokemon
Yeah.
should be an MMO, because if Pokemon's going to be truly immersive, you got to think about it. You're just a kid trainer going into a world, and there's a ton of other trainers living totally different journeys with different
Yeah.
people, different friends, different Pokemon. That's what this game should have always been. If you take out the trainers, right, and you
Mhm.
replace them with people, and you're just battling people along all these trails, all these paths, that's what an MMO is. That's basically, Pokemon should have always been an MMO. Just replace the NPCs
Yeah.
with real people, and that's what it boils down to. But at the time when Pokemon came out, they weren't really prepared to make an MMO. There was really only a few out at the time, And nowadays I think that it's a little late for Nintendo to come back and make an MMO out of the game. Maybe they
Yeah.
can, I don't know, but the fact that the team who made PokeMMO was able to do this out of passion, I couldn't be happier about. They really did a great job,
For sure.
not to say that there are some things that I would like to see added or changed, and I think that's important because
Yeah.
when you have a community game, I think it's important to elicit the things that you want to see added and changed because it is a game for the community. Have
Yeah.
you played a lot of community games in your past?
Not necessarily. I don't think so. Like, genuinely, I never got into like mods or communities or anything. I was always just kind of like, I guess just like couch co-op, more Smash Bros or Mario Kart stuff.
Super
If I
cool,
ever
yeah.
did online stuff, it was just like, racing like the ghosts or whatever on Mario Kart Wii, I think was like the furthest I made it
Right, right,
until like
right.
Valorant. But yeah, I've zero experience with like community games apart from this, I would say.
Well, even with Smash Bros, which you mentioned,
Yeah.
I don't know too much about Smash Bros, but the Melee scene has always been growing and blowing up, and it's gotten bigger and bigger. And something that they didn't see until like 2020, like COVID, is the introduction of online play with
Yeah.
like little input delay. And that was something that kind of blew my mind when I found out that they didn't really have that until then. And PokeMMO is kind of a similar thing where we should have always had these features, but
Uh-huh.
now that they're introduced, it's like finally, why wasn't this implemented in the first place? So, in the Smash scene, Amza, who is a very famous Yoshi main,
Yeah.
and basically the only Yoshi main to have ever really done anything successful, only could do that because of that online connect. I'm not sure what it's called. I'm sure many of you do who are listening, but yeah, he really couldn't find enough practice in Japan, and he really couldn't make his mark as much and learn what the pros were doing at the time until
Yeah.
that was introduced. And now he's considered one of the best players of all time. So
So
that's
cool,
that's
dude.
something that's really cool. And I've played a community, well, slew of community games in my
Yeah.
past. One of them, were you ever like a Call of Duty Zombies guy?
Yes, of course. A
Cool.
great time.
Okay. Of course. Of course. Okay. So, there's something for all you zombies fans out there. Check out Plutonium if you haven't heard of it already. It's very similar to PokeMMO. Just a group of people came together. They decided to make a free version of all of the golden eras of Call of Duty. So you've got Modern Warfare, Black Ops 2, World at War. You've got all these games together, and it's free. It's completely free. You get all the DLCs included with the games, and
What?
you can have your own servers where you play zombies with your friends. And just about when I started PokeMMO, I started playing on Plutonium as well.
Yeah.
And that is just a great time. You get to play all the Call of Duties with all your friends, play zombies together on your own servers, and it's free. So all of your friends who have ever played on console before and they didn't own a PC, but now they do, and they didn't want to buy all the Call of Duties because they're so freaking expensive.
Yeah.
That's that scenario. I lived that scenario, so that's why I'm talking about that.
Same here, man.
Yeah, yeah. So check that out if you guys haven't. But the reason I bring that up is because they also have a great modding community. People make skins all the time for all the guns. They have custom maps, custom game modes, servers. You can do all kinds of things, and that's what community games are all about.
Yeah.
Um, so I would like to see some changes with PokeMMO, but first I want to ask you, Cabbage, is there anything that comes to mind for you that you would like to see added or tweaked or changed in PokeMMO? If nothing comes to mind, no big deal. I've got some things written down, and
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no problem. Well, first of all, I'm just did a little Google search while you were talking about it, and this looks so sick. I have a buddy who we tried, what is it? I think it was Cold War. We did zombies,
Yeah, yeah,
and we were trying it, and like it was still fun, but like it wasn't the same. And we were
right.
literally talking the other day like about how it would be so cool if we could all jump in and play like Black Ops 2 together. Like the Sticks and Stones or Black Ops 2
Yep,
zombies.
yep, yep.
So I'm like I was like kicking my feet over here looking at this, dude. Like that's so sick.
Yeah,
As far as changes to PokeMMO, Let me just think super quickly. I don't know. Like overall, like apart from a few, maybe like I mean this is a small like cosmetic change. I feel like those are more my like where I'm the target audience for is like smaller cosmetic changes. I think it would be super cool. I get why they don't have it right now, but I think it would be really cool to implement if you've ever played like the OG Diamond and Pearl.
Hmm.
That feature where you have like the Pokeballs that you can throw out and it shoots out almost like your own custom particle effects. I
Right, right,
think
okay.
those are sick. I think different ball like animations being sent into battle would be really cool to see like they have in the newer games where you
Mm,
throw out a moon ball and it explodes into like a bunch of cool like crescent moons. Those are obviously more cosmetic, but then on like the bigger side of things, I would love to see either quests where you are given like, oh, you have daily quests that you have to get on and do these 5 things, and if you do them, then you get, you know, 50,000 Pokeyen or something like that. Like that kind of
sure.
stuff is what sucks me into games. And like having a little to-do list. And then as well, I think it would be really cool if they started working on a few of the other like function not implemented things, such as like for example, they could make a Rayquaza boss fight. I loved like the idea of the Ho-Oh fight. I thought it was so cool.
Yeah.
And picturing going up there and doing a Rayquaza boss fight with either Latios and Latios as like the spawns that as like the ads,
Ooh.
or like even the Reggies or something, or even
Mhm.
Groudon and Kyogre, dude. Like there's just so much potential now that they opened up that idea of like boss battles with Red and with Ho-Oh and in Johto,
Yeah,
that I
yeah.
really want to see some of the love that Johto got, like poured back into the other generations, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, I actually have some similar ideas to what you were saying. And I just want to preface this with, this is a community game, guys. And if you've got some ideas out there, go hit the forums, go hit your Discord, go tell
Yeah,
them what you think, talk about it. Because, at the end of the day, if we can build the best game, the best version of this game, why wouldn't we? It's you're gonna get more content, you're gonna meet more people, bring more people in, and everybody should be talking about things that they would like to say. That's not to
yeah,
say that you should be bashing the creators of the game. You shouldn't be bashing people for their ideas. It's all for discussion. But that being said, you covered one thing that I really think should be updated, and
yeah.
that is the way roaming legendaries work. Now, a lot of people have been talking about the Reggies and how they think that they're going to get implemented because the dogs got implemented, the birds got implemented. It seems like the Reggies might get implemented, maybe the Lake Trio, right? Something like
Yeah.
that. So, a lot of people are speculating that. And I think that there should be a rework of the current system that we see, because at the moment there's a bit of a time sink in the MMO, but it's not necessarily like an active time sink. A lot of people they're just going back and forth on the same route, and it's not as engaging. And at the end of the day, these people are hoping to get like a single encounter, shiny, or encounter the legendary, but they're not really paying attention. Sometimes people play a different game or they're watching YouTube, right?
Yeah.
I think something that would be really exciting is if we have a quest system, like you said, but for these Pokemon. And there are so many things you can do with this quest system. You can do puzzles of any kind. I mean, I'm talking like the Reggies. It would be so badass if we had
Oh, yeah.
Reggie Rock. There's some sort of like mining. They did the mines in what was it, Diamond and Pearl, right?
Yeah.
Where you
Oh
could
my
go down
gosh,
there.
dude.
What
Yeah.
if there was like mining game mini games you do, and then Reggie Ice. There's like a bunch of sliding ice platforms, and you're sliding around. That would be really cool. I'm talking for any legendary, if they took some time and really relish the idea that each legendary could have a cool thematic quest chain added to it, and instead of just running around in grass for 8 hours, maybe not finding it, but the other guy who you hate is spamming it in global chat all day,
Yeah.
maybe instead you do some sort of quest chain, and it's really fun and intuitive. And this is something that the community could even work on. They could come up with different people that you battle along the way. Maybe it's people from who knows, what were those games, the Coliseum games, or no, no, no.
Yeah. Or
Yeah, where you would battle like different trainers. It was like the first like 3D Pokemon battle games.
Was it Pokemon X? Not XD, right?
XD Gale of Darkness,
Yeah, like
maybe.
there's that, like kind of that similar style.
Yeah, okay, exactly. So I'm kind of unfamiliar with a lot of the alt games. So, but yeah, those type of trainers maybe are implemented. I mean, the community could really get talking on some cool ways to make it fun. And
Yeah.
maybe afterwards, people don't want to do those quests over and over to get their fourth Suicune, you know. So maybe after that, you would just find it out in the wild, something like that. But I think that would be something kind of cool added to the game. What do you think about that?
So I two things actually. One, I think that is 100% correct, and I think that we share a lot of the same thoughts that way. For me, I think that the roaming legendaries would be cool as just for Johto, but one of my only issues I've had with that is like, I mean, I get that, you can catch multiple because you get the odds of getting one that's shiny and all this stuff, but like something about catching more than one legendary to me almost feels wrong. And
I
so like
agree.
that's been a big pain point for me too, to just see like the GTL filled with a bunch of Suicunes. And yeah, like there's cool money making methods for that, but like at the same time it's just something about having some massive build up
I
with like
agree.
the Reggies, for example. And then you get your Reggie, and then it has that, like how they have the starters and a few other Pokemon. It's like this is a gift Pokemon, like you can't move it from the account. I
Yeah,
think that's how they should have implemented it, is with more static encounters. And one thing too, I was gonna send you, and you can check this out later if you want or whatever. But this is, I don't know if you saw this in Platinum, but there was this cool event where you went and you basically found like, I think it
oh
was
yeah.
Cynthia was going around, and like there was an actual storyline to the Reggies in Sinnoh because
Right.
of Regigigas that was introduced. I was
Mhm.
thinking that would be such a cool way for them to implement the Reggies. And I get, oh, it's not in Hoenn, blah 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 blah, but like I kind of talked about it in, I think, episode 3 of the podcast, where I was like, if they're gonna do roamers and Hoenn, I would love if they did Latios and Latios like the original
Yeah.
games, right? Like stick to the original formula. I'm cool if they do, the Lake Trio as roamers because that's how it was, but just make it more like the old games, like every time you jump onto a different route, like it spawns somewhere else, and you have to
Mhm,
get
mhm.
lucky by being at the right place at the right time. And like there's just so much potential to make it feel like the old games, and then make them gift Pokemon that can't be traded, so that way, your incentive, like there's the incentive of, oh, I want to get this for PvP, I want to get this for my decks, but at the same time, it's not like, oh yeah, like let me just trade this, Suicune to a friend for his Pokédex or this. It's like
Right.
it doesn't make them feel as special. You know what I mean?
Right, and I agree with that 100%. Actually, that's actually kinda genius, I've gotta say, really smart. So, I also was not into the idea of legendaries being added to PokeMMO. That was actually kind of like a big ticket thing when I did join, was that I found out Mewtwo, Arceus, all these, or Arceus, however you wanna say it.
Yeah,
I found out that they aren't, a Pokemon that you can just, finish the story and then go achieve quickly, run into a cave, battle, Cobalion or whoever, run between trees and get Virizion. You can't
yeah,
you can't do that. And I thought that that was really cool, because when I look at like a tournament of some kind, right? They
hmm,
always run the same type of teams. The meta game
yeah, dude,
adapts so slowly, and more often than not, it's just because of stats and um, at the end of the day, it is cool to see Suicune and Entei and all these other legendaries in the game, but I don't know if that really is like the coolest way to have it. And I do agree that it would be nice if they were untradeable and they couldn't go on the GTL, because it does kind of take away from the atmosphere having them run around. But that being
yeah,
said, they're in the game. We can't change that, and it is really cool having them. It looks great with a lot of outfits. The Suicune main is all awesome. I don't own it,
yeah,
but seeing that's pretty cool. I've seen like a shiny Suicune in game. That looked sick.
yeah.
Yeah, so those are really cool, and I just think if they added and like maybe tweaked it enough, where they gave it a little more attention, that would make those legendaries feel a lot more rewarding for people. So, anyways, uh, I'm glad that you kind of brought up the whole quest thing because that is something that I definitely think should be implemented. And on that note, I
Yeah.
think that ocarinas should have quests. And I know that a lot of people think that ocarinas are just like a quick cheap purchase for like a quickly teleporting back or traversing some route, but I think it'd be really cool if that's something that you earned. And that's not to say that everybody who has an ocarina right now should have those taken away, definitely not. But I think that from here on out, new players would find it really fascinating if they found out they could unlock a way to teleport back to the Pokemon Center by doing a quest chain. That would
Yeah.
be really incentivizing. Or if you could get cut by doing some sort of like a tall grass puzzle, like the tall grass in Hoenn. Maybe there's
Yeah.
some sort of puzzle with that, something like that. Or even the old feature on the Game Boy where when you would use cut, it would like cut grass in an area around you. I
Yeah.
saw a small ant talking about that not too long ago, that like everyone forgets that was a feature. You could literally cut down grass so you don't
So
encounter
sick.
Pokemon. That's cool. So they could do some sort of puzzle with that. I like to think I'm creative, but when you put the whole community together, they could come up with something really cool.
Yeah.
And I think that that's great for the forums. So if you have any ideas, slap it on the forum. Maybe a dev will see, and it could be a lot of fun.
No, I
Uh,
think that's awesome, dude. Just piggybacking off that really quick. One thing
Go
as
for it.
well that I just thought of, I mean, totally random idea and just thought, but I think what could be sick too is you could even have like how they added the what is it, the shiny trader for like prismatic pearls. Like
Hmm.
if they had some kind of so they have clearly they have a way to trade NPCs Pokemon for items. It'd be cool if maybe there was some kind of incentive of like, you're helping there's like a quest line where there's different people and you know what I mean? Like maybe
Oh,
there's the
like a war
teleport one.
mission.
Yeah, where it's almost like,
Okay.
oh, hey, like I'm studying bird Pokemon to like learn how they fly and like learn about this, blah 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 blah. Like, can you bring me like 10 Pidgeys? You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Stuff like
Um.
that. I think would be so cool if they
Yeah.
implemented that for the ocarinas.
Yeah, that would be cool. In World of Warcraft, I brought it up so many times in this already, but in
Yeah.
World of Warcraft, they had the Scepter of the Shifting Sands quest line for the Scarab Lords. For those of you who don't know what that is, it was basically a one-time event in World of Warcraft where all of a sudden this raid was about to open up, and there was a quest line that the entire server could do, and they
Yeah.
all had to farm up tons of resources and turn it in to even unlock the quest line for people in their guild. And eventually it was a really tedious task, and only a few people in the world were able to obtain what was at the end of the quest line. But
Yeah.
like you said, maybe like how we do catch events, at the end of the day, you do one catch event, you've got 500 mankeys in your box, you don't know what to do with them. Maybe
Yeah.
something like that. There's a catch event, they're looking for specific mankeys, and then your team can turn them in for something cool, and there's a quest line and you guys get a reward, something like that. Piggybacking off of your piggyback, I think that'd be kind of a cool idea. So yeah, no, I think that would be awesome. That is a great idea.
Dude, yeah, another thing I just thought of too is I don't know if you played Scarlet and Violet, like the new Pokemon games.
I've not.
So, one thing that I actually thought was a really cool idea that I think they didn't implement it correctly. I mean, I don't know if really they implemented anything correctly in that game, but the one thing that I thought was really cool is they added like a new way to craft TMs and stuff. And I feel
Mhm.
like it kind of happened I think it was like Legends Arceus that kind of brought this about. But one thing that I thought was really cool is, for example, if you go out into the wild and you knock like knock out a Mankey, you kill like a Weedle or something, you get like a berry or whatever it is, and then each Pokemon of that type drops a specific Pokemon like item for that Pokemon. So
I see.
it was like Weedle Thorn or like Mankey Fur, things like that. And you would
Oh.
use those items to trade for other items and TMs, like fighting TMs and things like that. And that
Mhm.
could be such a cool way. I mean, It'd be a little difficult, I feel like, to implement just because that's, you have to add a ton of different items and things like that. But whenever Pokemon already has all of those things for each individual Pokemon, it'd be really cool to see that where, maybe that's even how you implement the ocarinas, where it's like, yeah, if you want this, you need, 500 Pidgey feathers, an Articuno wing, like just like crazy things like that. Because then if the roaming legendaries are there, it incentivizes you to find them. Things
Right.
like that to kind of push different players to build upon the collecting aspect, and like that could pour into money making, which could pour into shiny hunting. Like there's so much to that. I feel like that you could just, circle that for days, like that little topic of how they
Yeah.
could implement ocarinas and different like collecting methods like that.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Um, and then I want to cover a few more ideas of ways I thought they
Yeah,
could
no, go for it.
change
I'm
MMO.
loving this, to be honest. Keep going.
So, one thing, if you guys have ever played Rust, you would know of the way that they have skins come out. Most of the time, it's based off of the Steam community market. People are constantly whipping up cool skins. They're making their own custom skins, and then the community gets to vote on these skins. They give it thumbs up, thumbs downs. It's a pretty simple, pretty rudimentary process. And then Face Punch, the people who make the game, they basically dictate from then on out which ones kind of fit their theme, fit their vibe, right? And if it's approved or not, sure, every once in a while there's gonna be some huge like anime waifu AK that hits the spotlight that they're not necessarily wanting to throw up there, but you get the idea. So the community gets to make these, and then instead of the community having to spend time making vanities and stuff like that, or sorry, instead of the creators and devs of the game spending their time making vanities, they can work on like the quality of life changes of the game and see what their community makes on their own. And there is no doubt that PokeMMO teams and the whole community is talented. I'm sure you've seen the Drillbur Mines background that just got released like last week. Did you see
I don't
that?
think so, no.
Oh my gosh, you have to see this. I'm gonna send it to you. I'm gonna look it
Yeah,
up while I'm
send me that.
talking. But basically, the team is talented. People who like Pokemon make art all the time. They like to talk about ways that they could implement art into vanities and whatnot. So if you can take those type of people and give them the tools to make a skin in game, they're going to be ecstatic. People are going
Yeah,
to play PokeMMO just to make vanities, just so they can show off to their friends that they have the ability to make something cool enough in the game that they love, and see it get implemented. I think
for
that'd be really
sure.
cool. I sent you a link. Check out this guy. He makes mods. One of the funniest ones, if you check out the Drillbur Mines, it's so funny. It's a background. If you click on video, it's the second one. It's
Yeah.
a battle background. And for those of you who are just listening in your car or whatever while you're playing, basically, when you
What the
start the
heck?
battle, yeah, isn't that so funny? When you start the battle, it's like the whole background is you're in uh like like Twist Mountain basically in Unova, and there's a bunch of little construction drillburs mining away gems. It's hilarious.
Dude,
Uh,
this is so sick.
isn't it? It's the
Dude, I'm
coolest thing ever.
obsessed with that.
Isn't it? So, like, the community made this. This was not like a dev. This was not like something that you like bought in the shop, it's nothing like that. Just some guy for free made this on the internet. If we allow like more stuff like that, we're going to see the community really like put together passionate projects, and it's good for the longevity of the game. So,
Yeah.
that's something I think should be thought about. Look at Pokemon Showdown. They have tons of sprites for your avatar. I don't really know much about Showdown. I know that you can earn those through tournaments and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
So I think that's really badass. I think that we should be looking at all the things that we can customize, and let the community kind of hash out their ideas, and try to build some stuff. So I think that's cool.
No, dude,
Anyways,
100%. Like I'm looking at, I don't know if you've seen this little video. This is like another, let me copy this and send this to you for fun. This is like just a few more of those 3D backgrounds.
oh
But dude,
wow,
these are like this in PokeMMO would change the game. Like imagine, because for me it's like I get kind of sick of the original Pokemon background. I get
yeah,
sick of the original Pokemon music. So I end up turning, which I feel like that's a sin to say, but like it
yeah,
happens if you play this game a lot.
right,
And so I just have like the transparent background,
Me
But
too.
dude, having some kind of custom like background like that for I mean, I know it's asking a ton, but even think about like Pokemon X and Y if you ever saw those games. It
Mhm.
wasn't like overcomplicated, but if you were outside, like in the outdoors and there were trees, like it had the trees around you. Or if you're in
Right.
Sinnoh running around, you can see like the honey tree in the background. Or like if somebody like if they took a development team and just went crazy on assets like that, I feel like that's such a small like I mean obviously it takes a lot of man hours, but it's a smaller quality of life change that I feel like would change the game for so many people and be like a huge selling point. Cause that to me, like I'm literally downloading the Drillbur one right now. That is so sick, dude.
Yeah, it is. It's hilarious. So, yeah, love that. You actually reminded me. Do you remember playing on the DS? You know, there was the animation for, let's say, when you fight N. There's the Team Plasma animation, like lightning shoots across the screen, and then all of a sudden N pops up. I think that's
Yes.
badass. Whenever you encounter like a legendary for the first time, you're finally getting that new animation of like an encounter, and your
Yep.
screen's like spinning and it's all blurry. That's awesome. I know that shiny hunters don't like stuff like that because it might add to the animation time, but
Yeah.
I think that if you can somehow trim those down and make it like not feed into the animation time or something like that, or even just like even if it does take up a little more time, for me, that level of immersion is worth everything. So I think
Oh
that's
yeah.
really cool. I would think it's really awesome for new players if they're battling like N for the first time, if they're getting that, or just any Team Plasma member, the lightning shooting across the screen. I don't know if they're allowed to do stuff like that because of Nintendo assets, but
Yeah.
I think that would be really cool too. So if somebody really likes shit like that, maybe make it into a mod. I think that would
Yeah,
be
no,
super cool.
exact dude, I think you're touching on some really cool things. I think that definitely having more cosmetic options for people is the way to go. And
Mhm.
also, I think it's super cool that we are able to like I will say I do think it's cool that PokeMMO allows mods and stuff like that because it just shows you like the untapped potential. And there's the thing is too is you could totally implement stuff like that like hey guys, we're updating this to where every time you encounter somebody like a Pokemon, it now has the cool like black and white animation where it zooms in before,
Right.
going into the battle. Just to like help immerse you or whatever. And then but it's like, but you can turn this off or you can turn it to like legendary only. You know what I mean?
Mhm,
That
mhm.
way it's like kind of like the shiny eggs and things like that. Like
Yeah.
choosing the custom animations, obviously shiny hunters are probably going to turn it off, but like I would 100% do like either leave it on or turn on like the legendary only thing where you get
Yeah.
that cool unique animation that's like, oh shit, I just found something sick. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like it
yeah,
should just
yeah.
sit up in your chair rather than just being like, oh look, Suicune, you
You
know?
know you know the one where, like, it's, like, slices your screen 3 times and then the glass
Oh
shatters?
my gosh,
That
yeah.
one's sick. So if we could
So
get that in
cool.
the game, that would change everything, okay? So if I'm encountering an Entei or something or a shiny and my screen starts cutting and shatters into a
Dude,
million
for
pieces,
shinies would be crazy.
yeah, I'd lose my shit. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
I'd lose my shit. So
It would be
yeah.
dudes, imagining that, like, imagine, you're just running back and forth in, like, the tall grass or whatever, and then, like, a tiny star pixel, like, starts, like, swirling out and grows bigger, then, like,
Yeah.
covers the screen, and then it zooms you into the fight, so you're like, "Oh my gosh, like, what Pokemon is it?" You know what I
Uh-huh,
mean?
uh-huh,
It'd
uh-huh.
just be so sick, like, little ways to almost kinda like I think this is a stupid way to explain it, but you know those, like, gotcha games, like what is it? There's like the train game, and there like what is the Genshin? Is that one of them? Like the
Yeah, yeah,
gotcha
yeah.
mechanic games like that, where it's
Mhm.
normally anime games that have this, but like you see the cool animation or whatever, then every now and then you'll get like the legendary animation. It'll glow yellow, and like all this cool stuff will happen like before going into it, and it's
Right.
around the same time like they're the same time usually elapses whether it's a normal item or the legendary. They could totally do that to where it's like you create something where it's like, oh shoot, I found something rare. Like,
Mhm.
what's it gonna be? Like, it builds a lot more suspense.
Right, right. Yeah, like in Rainbow Six Siege when you're, like, unzipping the packs and you can see the
Yeah, dude.
color. Yeah, 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 exactly. So yeah, I think that would be really cool. Uh, Another thing I wanted to talk about was, I talked to you about this a little bit ago,
Yeah.
the housing system. If
Yes.
they made it, and I don't know how, okay, but I just remember when I was younger, and I was playing Club Penguin. Okay, I might be a little a little different than the normal age range here for the Pokemon players, but when I was young,
Yeah.
Club Penguin was like the hit thing at my school. I'm 22 right now, but so this was like 17 years ago or like something like that. I don't even know. But Club Penguin was the shit.
Yeah.
Everyone's playing it, and the coolest kid in school has the coolest igloo. There is
Yep.
no doubt. His mom dropped $400 on Puffles, DJ stands, lights. Everyone's hanging out in his little igloo. That's
Yeah.
cool. And I would like to see some more end game stuff thrown in for the game, where your house can be that badass, where you got that ginormous igloo with the living room, and you got your Puffles running around.
Yeah.
Maybe you can have your Pokemon run around. If you just want a tournament with the team, maybe they run around in your house and people could come chill with you. Maybe there's like different vanities that you unlock to place in your house. You can make it cool. Maybe even like a team house where you guys put trophies for things that your team has won, a
Yeah.
tournament that your team has won, stuff like that. I think that would be really cool. Just covering that quickly. I know a lot of people like kind of are on the fence whether or not player housing is good or bad. I.e., the garrison from World of Warcraft was kind of a bad thing because you saw a lot less players in the world because they were all chilling in the houses. But
Fair.
I think that would be cool if you added a few more rewards to your house.
Yeah.
Um, and then another thing I thought would be kind of cool is animations. If they added animations to some of the older vanities and kept adding animations to the vanities, I think that would be really cool.
Yeah.
Especially like some of the really expensive ones. I know that like the jack-o'-lantern has like the laugh, which is really cool. But who
Mhm.
knows? Maybe like the or scythe. Sorry, the scythe. Maybe you slash it around your character for a second, and it's on a cooldown. A lot of
Yeah.
the newer vanities get animations like the wolf mask or the clown mask. Stuff like that. I think that anything can really get an animation added to it, so that might be kind of cool too.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, dude, one thing really quickly before, because you brought up a really cool point, and like, because I feel like a big argument a lot of people would have is like, oh, well, I mean, you can't really do that because, like, what if you don't like the animation, but like you like this vanity, or well, what
right.
if you know what I mean, like X, Y, like, what if it's gonna like ruin the value because you're re-releasing an item, or like, why are you making for example, like with the scythe, a lot of players would be like, why are you investing your time in that only a few players have, you know? But
Right.
one thing you could do that would be cool is it's pretty similar to Fortnite too, which is funny that I feel like all roads like lead to Fortnite nowadays. It's terrifying.
Yeah, yep.
Like I always played as, and this is just for context, but I always played as like the gingerbread guy, and I
Mhm.
had this candy cane pickaxe that was just very basic. And then later, in like I think 2-3 years later, they dropped, you know, 2 or 3 design changes for the gingerbread guy. They added Christmas lights to
Mhm.
the candy cane pickaxe. But if you already owned the items, they gave you the option to like leave them as like the
That's
normal
cool.
ones. So for example, like the scythe, you could release something where it was like, oh yeah, like look, we updated. You could even just do it by events. Yeah, we went back to 2015, and we added an animation for the ghost costume, an animation for this, an animation for this. And
Mhm.
if you already own these items, like you can either basically keep, like let's say with the ghost costume, they added the animation to where it's like it removes your player legs, and so like your player hovers up and down a little bit, which would
Dude,
look sick.
hilarious.
But
That would be so funny.
you look at that, but then it says if you already own the item and would like to upgrade it, you can pay, what is it, like maybe they're charging, maybe it's like 500 RP or something like that
Mhm,
to like
mhm.
upgrade it. So that way other players running around with the ghost costume are gonna be like, oh, this is sick, I can have it again. But then like one player walks in and he has like the stiff ghost costume and like is
Yeah.
walking around. It still makes it stand out in a unique way. And
Right.
I think that, I don't know, I'm so into cosmetics in games like this. And so I
Yeah.
think that any like breathing new life into old features is just as important as adding new ones, as like you were saying, or like we were talking about with um like I was saying, I want to see the same love that Johto got, implemented
Right.
with boss fights and things in other regions. Another thing I think would be really cool, and you could do this for what is like the hidden bases as well, like in Hoenn, is there's this whole mechanic I just sent you of the hidden grottos in Black and White that they could
Yeah.
add. where that could lead you to your secret base.
Mhm.
They could just, connect it all. They could add the Sinnoh Underground, and you could add your secret base like you could in the old games there. Like,
Right.
there's so much potential for that. And again, I see why they don't, because like I get it. It's a lot to add. They have a small development team, and they want to probably focus on things like raids for now. But like
Right.
I'm talking like maybe 2 to 5 years from now, whenever they are kind of happy with like where the end game content is, adding those little quality of life things would be so sick. Like, you brought up some really cool points actually.
And if they get the community to work on that kind of stuff, I think that's another thing
Yeah.
is they don't have to spend their time working on that. They can still work on introducing raids while the rest of the community is working on things that they love and would like to see.
Yeah.
So I think that is a great point. And then to touch base on one thing is a lot of people would be kind of worried about whether or not this would affect the market a lot, which it absolutely would. If they add stuff to the ghost costume, it's going to get even more expensive and more rare.
Yeah.
But if the community starts making vanities and there's consistent stuff coming out, you will see that the gold sink for players is going to now be focused elsewhere, and that
Yeah.
the price of those really expensive out of reach vanities like the flaming skulls and whatnot might start dropping in price again, even though the supply is still the same. Now that there's all these other vanities that people would like to see, I think that would definitely bring the price of those things down. And I think there is something that needs to be said about the unobtainability of some vanities.
Yeah.
If you I joined in 2020. I love the jack-o'-lantern mask. Unless I spend every day of the game just watching the GTL and flipping, there's really not a way that I can ever get that mask. And it's an MMO, and
Yeah.
that's kind of how it should be. But um, but they're so far past the out of reach point where it's like you have to be part of a team that knows like how to manipulate markets well, or understand what the economy is going to look like due to future updates, and invest so far ahead of time, and already have your assets planted in those investments, that
Yeah.
it kind of makes it annoying for new players to see all these cool things and all they can afford is a straw hat you know
Yeah.
so
No, I
anyways.
totally agree with that point for sure.
But yeah, I think those are some cool changes I'd like to see. I have other ones written down. I think like I'll cover them briefly because I know we've been talking about this for a while.
No, yeah, you're good, dude. Like,
Um,
we're still good on time if you want to go over more of them.
okay, yeah. So I think, and I missed this, but there was a team versus team tournament or something that happened in late 2023.
Yeah.
And I don't really know what the result was, or like how fun they really were. But I like the idea of those, and those really bring out the best in players. Brings people back into the game, and they want to help their team and maybe unlock a vanity. I think a cool thing would be is in Viridian City. A lot of people just kind of hang out there, and that's like the hangout spot, right?
Yeah.
And what if that little like square area was kind of turned into like a courtyard? Just a little like uh little cosmetic change to the game. They
Yeah.
altered some tiles and it's a courtyard, but now at the very tippity top of that courtyard, there are like three pedestals, and each week there's a new
Oh
like
my
statue,
gosh.
new statue
Yeah.
that gets put up. One is like the team that won this. One is a player who maybe was the highest ranked in OU ladder or something like that. Maybe one is a person with the rarest shiny or something like that, right? It can
Yeah.
be anything. But imagine you're working your ass off just to have your character displayed for a week to everybody else. That could mean everything. That could
Oh
mean
yeah.
months and months of grinding to try to get yourself up there for somebody. That's the type of end game thing that we would like to see. And I don't think it would alter like the gameplay for new players that much,
Yeah.
because it's just a vanity thing in one small city, and the rest of the game is still normal, but this adds a layer and a purpose for those people who've been playing the game for so long.
Yeah, no, and I think that's super cool too, because it's not only is that a really cool idea where it's like, oh, like this player, this is out of all the players, this player caught 50 shinies in 1 month. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So then they
Hmm.
get honored for that month and things
Right.
like that. Or this is the best randoms player. like you get these cool little statues, but you could also piggyback that on the other ideas, and they could give you like a small version of that statue or that trophy for your secret base that you could display, things like that. So that way, whenever players walk in, you have your own pedestals and you're like, yeah, look, like I've won, how like the most shinies in a month 3 times. I'm going for 4. Create some kind of like collectionist, because then that's truly like a one of one item too that you can grind for, that I feel like what a lot of players would be interested in, like myself included. And it's also really cool because it would show that the PokeMMO devs are responding to how the players are playing their game. You know what I mean? Like you said, you could, if they looked at that and said, hey, a lot of players hang out in Viridian, or is it Viridian City? I'm pretty sure. Is it? Yeah, it's like like a lot of players hang out in that port town in Kanto. Like, how can we, like, what can we add to kind of like not thank the community, but you know what I mean? Like, what can we add to make that feel special? Like, if they're already making this a special place, like themselves, what can we add to this space that like incentivizes other people to, or like shows them that like we see how they're playing the game and like we think it's cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
It's like unsaid communication that is like, oh, I think what you guys are doing is awesome. Here's like this cool little, we're going to drop these cool little trophy stands since you guys like to hang out around there. Good luck grinding for them. You know what I mean? And then just leave it open.
Yep. Also, for all the Poke nerds who are cringing at us, it was Vermilion City. We were totally wrong. We totally messed it up. So we have no idea what we're talking about. We should not have a podcast. We're unprofessional.
Yeah, dude. Canceled.
Anyways, I just logged on just to check that. So anyways, I think if they keep adding these end game things, I think it would really breathe new life into the game. We could definitely see a return of a lot of players, and even some other things that other games are doing, like Pokerogue. Pokerogue implemented and has been a very popular roguelite for Pokemon, and maybe there's some sort of battle bus system that gets added to the game, or battle train system that's like a roguelike.
All roads lead to Fortnite,
yes,
bro.
it's always Fortnite. It's always Fortnite. Anyways, maybe they add some sort of roguelike feature or roguelite feature in the game. That's just a mini game, right? Or more ways to gamble in the game, instead of just like, the slot machines. Maybe they add other ways to gamble. That could be kind of fun. Maybe the number one gambler is put in the casino as a little trophy too, and then you got people grinding, gambling their money away all day. Like I don't know, just stuff like that. I think it would be really fun. And I think the roguelike idea too would be super cool. I've got one friend, Nick, you know him too, Cabbage. He's been playing
my father.
Yes, he's been playing Pokerogue nonstop. He loves that game, and a feature like that would bring him back, no doubt. And I was actually talking. I ran him through some of these ideas before coming on the podcast, just because I wanted to know what he said, and he really liked what I had to say. And like a lot of the things we talked about today are things that would bring him like back more often, even though he still plays. Like these are features that I think a lot of people could find common ground that would be nice to be added to the game. So,
one thing too, not to interrupt you, but one thing that I think is cool is like taking that into account. There have been times, I feel like every player goes through this. I'm about to go through this because if I don't get a shiny soon, I'm going to be pressed. But it's like, you sink so much time into looking for a bird or looking into a shiny, and you don't get it. Let's say you don't get lucky, you don't find the bird. Like for me, like right now I'm doing encounters for Articuno. And whenever Christmas dropped, whenever it dropped around Christmas time last year, I wanted a 2023 Articuno so bad. And I literally carried my phone with me with PokeMMO on it, and I was playing in conversations with people. My family and I went to that new Willy Wonka, which was ass, by the way. But I brought my phone in there, and I was playing PokeMMO, doing encounters, grinding for all that stuff. And it just like disappeared. And then I didn't get like, I mean, yeah, it's RNG. It is what it is. Like I wasn't crying about it, but it was almost like I was kind of dissatisfied because there was nothing to do to like break up my time. Like for events, it's really cool, right? It was like, oh, cool. I'm grinding. I'm catching all these swarms. It almost that this is a better way to phrase it. It almost feels like during events there's too much to do, and
Hmm.
during every day we log on, it feels like there's not enough to do. So
Yeah,
somewhere in between both of those things, and between like the things that we've said, like quests and all of these changes to cosmetics and different things, like earning these items and earning Pokeyen through quests and just giving us anything to do to just kind of like break up the DA like back and forth in the grass would
right.
just be so welcomed, I feel like, by at least like 99% of the player base.
Yeah, yeah, and you're 100% right. And I think there's a lot of times that people are talking about, you need to make a list of goals for yourself. People are searching for things to do, but if you make the world enticing enough, then people will have things to do and they won't have to do stuff like that. And
Yeah.
if I could give a quick example,
Yeah, no, go
World of
for
Warcraft, once again, coming into the podcast, Fortnite and World of
it.
Warcraft is probably more talked about than Pokemon at this point.
Yeah.
Um, that game, when it was first released, was a ginormous open world that took forever to explore, and people loved it. People ate
Yeah.
that shit up. They went and uncovered and unturned every stone of the game. There was so much to do and not enough time to do it. And then now you fast forward to modern day World of Warcraft, and there are daily quests that you log on and do every day, and you're grinding reputation and stuff like that. And people get burned out of stuff like
Yeah.
that, and they're looking for, like, they have goals that they've made to get these daily quests done and stuff like that. There's a reason to do it still,
Yeah.
but you need more to do in the game already, if that makes sense. You need a reason for yourself to go explore and get something and find something, instead of just looking up a guide of the fastest way to unlock this or that.
Yeah.
So with these changes, maybe that would entice more people to just chill and play the game and go unlock something and do something. Something I've never done is Voltorb flip. You have a video of it on your channel. When
Yeah.
I am getting ready to do it, I'm gonna go check that out. I'm gonna go find out what it does. I don't even know what the reward is. I have no idea. Don't even tell me,
Yeah.
okay? But if they just add a bunch of stuff like that, it's still in my mind. I know what Voltorb flip is, and I don't even know what the reward is. And I know I should probably do it, or maybe I shouldn't. I don't know. But it exists in
Yeah.
the game. There is an ability, or there is a way for me to do it right now. And if they just keep adding stuff like this, I think people would really enjoy it. So, anyways, that kind of covered most of the changes I would have liked to see in PokeMMO. I think it's
Yeah.
great as a community that we get to talk about stuff like this, and who knows, maybe one day one of the things we talked about today gets added, and it might make all the difference, for people who play. So
Yeah.
I really couldn't be more thankful to be part of such a great community of people, and I really, I gotta say. Everyone I've met so far, if you know who I am, thanks for making the game awesome. The people you meet along the way really is everything. It's not really, about the end goals. It's about the people and the friends you make along the way. So you guys are the best.
Yeah,
And
it's the best, dude.
yeah, so it's what Pokemon's all about at the end of the day. So I've met a lot of friends, people I talk to every day from all over the world. And yeah, so I love this game. I really want to see the best from it. I'm not trying to give any flack to developers or anybody who works on the game for a living or anything like that. I think they're doing a great job. And if we can keep talking about things that we would love to see added, I think that would make it all the merrier. So yeah, that
No,
kind of wraps it up for me.
yeah, dude. No, 100%. I think one or two things I'll say here too at the end is like, first of all, like attracts like, and like it's not that everybody in the community is this perfect angel. It's that you are a great person. You're fun to be around. Not to glaze you too much, but it's genuinely like you're one of the chillest people I've met. So if anyone is listening and has a chance to see Chefster in the wild,
Hmm.
go chat with him. He's a great guy. And then also, secondly, I was just gonna say it's cool to see that, like you were saying, PokeMMO, although it is what, like 12 years, is it like 12 years old, 11 years
Yeah.
old, something like that. It's really cool to see that we still are kind of in the beginning of this game, in the sense that in 10 years from now, who knows, like you said, maybe everything we said is implemented, maybe every like features are removed, things like that. But it's cool, and like you said, I feel like the more malleable we can make PokeMMO by reaching out and like coming together as a community to put out our own ideas, like the better that the game will be for somebody who finds it 5 years from now, you know?
Exactly.
So I think that's a super awesome call to action. To just say, you know, hit the forums, hit Reddit, hit whatever you guys need to, and just get your ideas out there. But I mean, I feel like this is a pretty good example too of you can tell that, for example, you had a lot of amazing like you brought so many things to light that like it like wanted me to like write a handwritten letter to the developers and like ask for certain features.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's like you did it in a respectful way, and that's how we should be with like the game too. Because it's yes, there's more communication and stuff that like I'm not sitting here saying that they're perfect, but at the end of the day, like if you're respectful, you'll be respected. And so
Right.
yeah, go hit the forums, dude. I think that was awesome.
I'm just one guy.
Yeah,
I'm just one guy. I have these ideas and I'm just one guy. The community probably has so many ideas that totally are way cooler than mine. You know, if you got something to say, go do it. And if I have to say one more thing before I go, you know, I've been looking for games for a long time now to like kind of retire with. You
yeah,
know, I think it's a funny way to put it. And PokeMMO is one of those games that I'm not like logging on to sweat and you know try to hit the highest rank and like show off and like do all these crazy things. And you know, PokeMMO is one of those games that I could see myself playing for a really long time. And you know, with any changes made or anything like that here on out, I want to see the community happy. I want to see everybody happy.
yeah.
And you know, I'm not trying to like be the highest rank in a lot of games anymore or do anything crazy. I just want to sit down, chill, meet some cool people. Like Cabbage said, if you guys want to whisper me and just chat, if you liked what I had to say today, hit me up. If you didn't like what I had to say today, cuss me out. It's all good. Yeah, so I you know, I love this game and you know, Cabbage, I think you're a great content creator. You're definitely the coolest squeaker we have in the whole game,
Oh, I'm
no doubt.
blushing.
So yeah, you know, I really appreciate being on here and you know, feel free to whisper me in game, guys, because you know, I love talking to you guys. So anyways, that closes it out for me.
Once again, thank you to Hipsterjes for sharing his amazing ideas as well as taking the time to chat with me. I had so much fun with him. He's a great guy, one of my best friends that I've made in this game. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed that episode. But let's jump right into the catch events and featured media. So I did change the format a little bit. Let me know if you guys like this. I pulled up this screen so that way you guys could actually see the time and see the event and like kind of what I'm talking about. Now, of course, you can always just follow the links in the description below, but I think it'd be more fun to have a visual aid. However, kicking off the catch events for the week, we have firstly Cycling Road Festivities, which is kind of funny. This is going to be taking place on Thursday, the 20th of June, hosted by Enzo. And this is one that's going to be super fun. It's going to start at 15 UTC. You can see all of the routes and channels and all the Pokemon you can catch and stuff like that here. And at the very bottom, you get a normal gift Eevee with your choice of nature, 4 moves, and 6 selectable IVs, and 1000 RP. Moving on, we have Lunar Moth, held by Dawn Ice Queen, or I guess just Dawn now. And it is going to be taking place on Sunday, the 23rd of June, and it will start at 22 UTC. This is one you're not going to want to miss because the prize is a gift shiny Venomoth with your choice of nature, 2 moves, and 3 selectable IVs, as well as 1000 RP. This is so cool. Venomoth is one of the best shinies in the game, in my opinion, and if you're a fan of blue shiny Pokemon, you will especially be stoked with this prize. But at least just go check out these events. If you haven't done a catch event, just make it happen. It's super fun. It's totally worth your time, so please check that out. There was also one called Where It All Began, which happened yesterday. This one took place at, I believe, Route 1 in Kanto, and the gift was a shiny Pidgey. So a huge congratulations to this player. I'm not going to try. I'll try, okay. Abe India, I believe. So huge congrats to you. It looks like it was a pretty close call here. 12 points is crazy. However, the event did end. In the future, I will try to release these episodes Monday morning, so that way you guys have a chance to see all of them, even if they do start Monday. Just life gets busy sometimes, so I appreciate your patience. One other thing that I will mention is if you look here, there are a lot of, that is a super funny picture, but there are actually a lot of different prizes for even like OU tournaments and for what is it? PvP content as well. There's like a lot of different events and things that happen every week. If you guys are interested in seeing all the PvP events of the week as well as the catch events, let me know in the comments below. I know most people just want a shiny hunt, so I get that. But if there is a need for it, I'll definitely add this to the end of the video. Next, let's move to the featured media, and it's going to be Become a Safari Week Millionaire in PokeMMO by our very own Team Rocket. Now, this is going to be a super fun event, and he actually asked me to stream a giveaway for it. But basically, let me just put it this way. You can walk away from this event with 10 million Pokeyen. If you want to check out all of the information on the catch event, he does have a forum post linked in the description below. So you can just simply go here and get all the information. But like, look at this. You go down here. Look, this catch event is a 1,000 subscriber special. Highest IV catch wins 10 million Pokeyen. 1 million Pokeyen for every shiny caught within the hour, and the lowest IV catch wins a Team Rocket OT Articuno. So you definitely don't want to miss this. Again, this will take place this week, Saturday, June 2024, at 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern Time. So make sure you're here, and there will also be a little giveaway that I will be streaming as well. So make sure to go check this out, and go congratulate Team Rocket for 1,000 on YouTube. Now, as for the forum post of the week, it is actually going to be by Dragon. I believe that's how he wants us to pronounce it. But it is called Mod WeakSpot, a weakness icon sprite mod, version 2.0 available for download. This is super cool, especially if you're a new player to PokeMMO or even just Pokemon in general. It can be very confusing to, see all these Pokemon and not know what's super effective against them, especially for storyline runs. So if you look here, you can actually see that he added all of these different weaknesses to all of the sprites in the game. So whenever they pop up like this in the wild, they'll pop up with what they're weak against, allowing you to quickly sweep through any storyline reruns, or if it's your first time, again, you'll be able to just kind of walk through the storyline and have a bit of a cheat sheet. I definitely would heavily recommend this mod. I think it's really cool. So go check this out and give Dragon some love. And that just about covers everything. Again, if you do want to see my links or Hipsterjes's links, please check the description below, as well as all the links for the catch events, the forum post of the week, and the YouTube video of the week. However, I do want to just take this time to thank you guys again for watching all the way to the end of this episode. We are almost at 10 episodes, which is crazy. One thing that I'll share is that there's a statistic that says most podcasts stop before their 21st episode. A lot of podcasts never see the 21st episode. So I have at least committed to make 22 episodes of the PokeMMO podcast. However, it does seem like it's getting a good amount of traction. Like, you guys seem like you're enjoying it. So I will go out of my way to continue to fill the need and make these episodes if you guys are enjoying it. So let me know in the comments, blow it up on YouTube, blow it up on Spotify, and let's make this a super fun and informative format for people to hear about PokeMMO on and off their computer. Anyways, I'm YoungCabbage. Thank you for watching the PokeMMO podcast, and I'll see you guys next week with episode 8.